weeks ago.
It was like 10 minutes where they traded Myles Garrett.
Oh, okay. We didn't stipulate that because we ran that yesterday. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, hour number 2. Welcome to our YouTube audience. We were sort of talking about whether or not the Browns are going to put in a bid for Brendan Sorsby. We are going to talk about that in the second segment of our show today. So if you want to see some discussion on that, stay around. In the meantime, though, Mike, we're going to start with Brian Windhorst was on ESPN Cleveland yesterday.
Yeah, he goes on for his 5 Good Minutes segment a couple times a week.
Oh, a couple times a week.
Yeah,
okay.
it's a regular thing. He always gives some great insight. Windy's the best. Been on this show before. We are big fans of Brian Windhorst. And he was asked about the future of Donovan Mitchell and just what he's heard in the terms of Donovan, whether he's going to sign an extension this year, whether he's going to wait. We've talked about it before. Donovan could sign an extension this summer, lock himself in, or you can wait till next summer. There is the injury risk.
Which financially would be beneficial to him.
Yes, he can make the Supermax next season by waiting. So Windy was asked about that, and this is what Windy had to say when it came to Donovan's future with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's take a listen.
I think the Cavs and Donovan are in a very good place. And I think everybody should be prepared for the eventuality that he does not extend. He is in maximum control, maximum benefit, maximum choice, maximum leverage situation. Okay. He has 1 year left on his contract, and next year can sign with all of those goodies that come along with a brand new contract as a 10-year veteran. And if something goes wrong in this year, he has a player option that can protect him for the year after. So that is where the Cavs are at. The only incentive that he has to sign right now is to do the Cavs a favor. If Donovan does not extend, it doesn't mean that he's leaving. It doesn't mean that he's unhappy. It doesn't mean that the Cavs should lose sleep. It does mean he's maximizing his situation.
Jason, what do you make of that? The Cavs could be in for some, I'll say, potentially awkward situations.
He's telling you it's not awkward, though, Mike.
I mean, we talked about this during the season. Would you like an extra $75 million if you had to wait a year to get it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying if he doesn't do it goes into next season with the impending thing hanging over everything.
But you also have the comments with him saying, look, I said this before my first re-sign, and I'm saying it again. I love Cleveland. I'm staying here.
The Cavs will do whatever is necessary to make Donovan happy. That's why every time we have a trade discussion, every time, you guys say, what about Evan? Or what about Giannis? What about Jaylen Brown? Every time I answer, what does Donovan want?
Sure.
That's what they're going to do.
Well, wouldn't he want the team to get better?
I think there's certain guys he wants to play with, and I think there's certain guys he feels like they don't need. And whatever Donovan wants, that's what they're going to do. And in terms of the contract thing, he could sign this summer for, I was just pulling it up from our cap guy at The Athletic. I think it's $280 million if he signs this year, $350 million if he signs next year.
That's a no-brainer.
So it's not that complicated. It's not a big deal if he doesn't sign, but it will make, I promise you, it will make for awkward points next year where this is going to come up and people are going to talk about it because it's just the reality of it. Like we've seen
especially
in the NBA.
If they struggle.
Why does the league do this? It's stupid. It's not good for the sport.
This is almost like a loophole. It's kind of a loophole for players because once you hit it's 10 years, you get a bigger piece of the pie.
Right.
And so players can structure their contracts in a way. Carmelo Anthony was terrible at this. LeBron was great at it. Structure your contracts in a way where you can get out and get back in when you're eligible for bigger pieces of the pie. Mm-hmm. And that's all this is. It's just it's manipulating your timing so that if you're already locked in, if he was already locked in beyond the 10-year mark, he would miss out on all that money for nothing. So it's just
how would he survive?
I know.
Yeah, but it's still, you don't want to leave money on the table. These agents have figured out how to dance around that.
I'm just saying
and they
the
structure
league,
it so they can get the most when they can.
I just wish the league would make it more advantageous for guys to sign earlier.
Well, the league has done everything they can in terms of incentivizing guys to stay with their current teams. Yeah. That's why, when is the last time we had a discussion about like such and such team cleared all of this cap space?
Right.
Remember that was the big thing. It was always clear.
Not anymore.
It was always Brooklyn has 2 max slots now to offer.
Right.
Nobody goes to free agency anymore.
No.
They sign with their current. Kevin Durant did this. You sign with your current team, you get all your money, and then you force your way out.
Right.
So the idea of like, I mean, I'm not going to say it's never going to happen again, but the idea of guys leaving in free agency isn't what it was.
It won't be the norm.
10 years ago.
Right.
Because the way the league is structured this, it incentivizes guys to take the money from your current team and then figure out your logistics of where you're going to play later.
Yeah. I think this will play, the headline will read, Mitchell opts to wait and doesn't want to sign the extension. And I think that'll make a lot of people nervous. And then it will cause some chatter, does Donovan want out of Cleveland and all of that. But if you view it for what it is, it's exactly what Jason said. Why would you sign today? It's financially disadvantageous.
Yeah.
Disadvantage to go ahead and sign now and leave all of that money on the
He's
table.
protected by his current contract.
Right.
So if there's
he's covered.
some sort of injury, he's covered.
He's covered.
Right.
There's
he's made enough money that what would be, even if he did.
I mean, it doesn't matter how much you made.
Yeah, they don't look at it that way.
If someone's going to offer you an extra $75
No,
million,
but I'm saying
you're going
there's
to take
no.
it.
I'm just saying there's no.
I know
risk
what you
in
mean.
it.
I know what you mean, and that's the way we would look at that.
Yeah.
But I think the way they are looking at it as, your window is so short. I read this morning that Floyd Money Mayweather, the guy who for I think 2 consecutive years was the highest earning pro athlete on the planet, is broke.
Well, he's an idiot.
Broke.
There's no excuse for being broke.
I know, but
when you made that much money,
that's the cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson made all of that money, went broke more than once. So I think what it is, and I'm not suggesting for a second that Donovan Mitchell is ever going to be in that space, but it's a cautionary tale that the agents tell the players, look, your window is X to X years long. You could make this number, or you could make that number, and over the course of a 14-year career. That second number is much larger. Well, let's go for that one.
I get it. I'm not saying he shouldn't try to get.
I know what you mean, though.
I just mean
he's covered.
He's covered. Even if he did get hurt, he's got plenty of. There's no risk in not wait. That's why you wait because you know you're going to get that money, and even if you don't, you're fine.
You're okay. Yeah.
You might as well wait for the extra money.
There will be chatter when he doesn't sign.
Yeah, there will be chatter,
And I hear what you're saying about the awkwardness, but I think the Cavs are probably in a pretty good space. It's the very first thing Wendy said was Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs are good.
It's fine.
We, for whatever reason, and maybe it's because LeBron left, and when you're spurned once, you're like, oh, it's going to happen again, and you live your life on that edge.
Yeah.
But I've come to kind of believe Donovan Mitchell when he talks so emphatically.
Oh, I do too.
I believe that his intention right now, to Jason's point earlier, there could be awkward moments. If they start 11-17, that chatter is going to turn into more than whispers. It's going to be shouts. Yeah. Donovan Mitchell staying in Cleveland's life depends on them turning this around and figuring this out.
It could turn into, and I'm not saying it will, I'm just saying it could turn into a situation where that is the weird cloud hanging over everything the entire season.
Yeah.
And in a perfect world...
And that's on the Cavs to make sure that doesn't happen.
Agreed. And in a perfect world, he gets all... And by the way, I want Donovan to get every dollar he can.
I do too. I always root
this
for the
is
players
nothing
to get
about...
everything
And anyone saying he should do what Brunson did and take less... Well, it was a different situation when Brunson took $100 million less. Donovan taking less now doesn't impact their cap situation. They're still a second apron team. It doesn't actually help them open up any money in the immediate future to go sign guys. If he took an extension for less, it doesn't help them sign LeBron. Different situations, uncomparable. My only thing is, and once again, Donovan, if I'm Donovan, I'm waiting to sign for $352. This is not a knock on Donovan. It's just going to leave this cloud over the whole thing. And for someone like Donovan, who has said multiple times, guys, I love Cleveland, I don't want to talk about it. It's one of the things we have to talk about until it's not.
But we don't unless they're playing badly. That's it. If they're playing well, it's irrelevant.
Not an issue. If they look like they're a contender next year, I think all of this is fine. Now, if they stub their toe in the first round of the playoffs next year,
and that's what I'm getting at.
Then you start looking around the room and say, he has a window to opt out. Right. And it's just like on the.
It's real quick. It's like when Miles restructured.
I was just going to say that. It's exactly like the Myles Garrett thing.
But the difference
you keep your options open.
Right, but the difference is we've known for a while Miles wanted out.
No, I know. I'm not comparing the two players, but the situation is Miles had options. Options are good.
Yeah.
And if the Cavs absolutely fall apart next season, which no one foresees, but if they do and they have a first-round exit in the playoffs, that window is there for Donovan. And then Donovan has to ask the question, well, do I want to play out my career on a team that looks like they're getting further away from a championship than closer, and make $350, or do I want to just sacrifice the max and go to a team that I can win a ring for? I mean, I think Brunson.
But as Jason said, what he would do is sign the contract anyway and then ask for the
force
trade.
your way out.
Yeah,
That's what they do.
When Donovan came here, when the trade was made, he first came here, it was rampant across the league. He's going to New York. He wants to go to New York.
We always heard it.
What happened, part of this of what happened was the Knicks chose other players besides Donovan.
Yeah.
They chose OG, by the way.
That's exactly it. They chose Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
I think was it Bridges? But Anunoby for sure. They pushed all of their trade assets.
Made the right call.
They most certainly did.
But when they traded for Anunoby, it basically took themselves out of any chance of trading for Donovan Mitchell.
Right, yeah.
And then when that happened, a lot of the league-wide chatter went away because then Donovan signs.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything. In January, Donovan, I think, went to them and said, like, we're not good enough. We got to make changes here.
Yeah.
And then you saw what happened with the Harden trade and Garland and everything else. So he has all the power in this relationship. He knows
Now he's got to tell him to go get Jalen Brunson.
Well, now dead is that notion that you couldn't win a championship with your best player being a guard. We had talked about, outside of, Steph Curry probably, would qualify. But Isaiah Thomas.
Okay,
but small guard.
But again,
a small guard.
It's still the exception more than the rule.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You're talking about.
I'm not sure the Knicks can repeat it.
Everybody focuses on the anomaly and doesn't look at the wide base of data. If something happens 2 or 3 times in 20 or 30 years, do you want to bet on that?
Yeah, but
or do you want to bet on the other way?
No, I totally agree with you because it's aggregate. And you look at the odds of you doing it are slim.
Yeah.
But we were beginning to think that the odds of it happening just, it couldn't happen anymore. And lo and behold, it did. And I think that conversation of, your best player can't be a small guard.
Who would you rather
have? Or
have?
your best 2 players can't be undersized guards.
Who would you rather have, Jalen Brunson or Donovan Mitchell?
Before this playoff run, I would have easily answered that Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's the better player.
Oh, I would not have.
But,
I would not have.
You would have taken Jalen Brunson?
100%.
Wow, I wouldn't.
I think before
I would
this,
now.
I would have before.
I mean, go back and look at the experts. There was 3 minutes of experts saying when the Brunson move happened, what are the Knicks doing? What are they thinking? They'll never win.
When I say before, I mean like at the start of this year, at the end of last year. Am I crazy? I would have taken.
I think
Brunson.
before this year,
I wouldn't have.
I think before this year, it's a toss-up. Right now, it's not. You would definitely take Brunson.
There's no way right now you could say Donovan.
No way.
Before this season, I think it was a toss-up.
If
they
you would
were
have
right
asked
in that
all
same
of the
range.
NBA GMs, how many of them do you think would have said, "Give me Jalen Brunson over Donovan Mitchell"?
30.
Right now?
No, now, of course.
Yeah.
We know now, but hell, no one was picking the Knicks when the playoffs started to win the East.
But
beginning of the season, I think it was closer than you're giving it credit for. Jay. I'll find the ESPN.
I'd love to see where the player rankings
I'll find
were
the
last
ESPN
year.
top 100 rankings.
Yes.
The Ringer does it. They update it every year. I'll find them at the start
Where
of the season.
were they last year? I'd say Brunson was below Donovan Mitchell.
Brunson was highly, highly, highly regarded last year. At the end of last year, coming into this year?
I don't know, Mike. Tell us where.
I mean, the Knicks made the conference finals.
Tell us where they were.
All right, so this goes back to January 19th. So this is middle of this season, right?
Yeah.
Brunson.
Yeah.
What list is this, Mike?
This is the Ringer's top 100, where they have their 12 NBA writers all vote.
It's weird. They did it in the middle of January.
They update it every month.
Oh, okay.
They do an update every month. Brunson was 11, 12, 12, 12, 12, and then after the playoffs, he's now number 5.
Makes sense.
And Donovan, 8, 10, 11, 9, 11.
So he was ahead of them in all of those.
I stand by what I said. I
But
think
they were-
I wish we would have had a piece
they
of
were
tape
neck
from
and
you
neck.
saying
But they're
last
neck-
year
they're
before
neck-
the
they were
season
neck and neck.
started.
NBA GMs.
Neck and neck.
NBA GMs, I'm telling you.
Well, that clip is so. I would show that to anybody who thinks I'm struggling with becoming the best player.
Yeah.
That string of clips, it included everybody. Everybody that knows anything about basketball was in that clip, and they were massively killing the Knicks for that deal.
Yeah.
And they were all saying, this is the guy they think is going to win the title?
Back when he signed that contract.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they universally, they were killing the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm Jalen Brunson, I've got that on a loop playing in the speakers throughout my house all the time.
Well, he talked about the Becky Hammond clip, saying he's too small to be a 1A. He talked about
why
how
did they pick her specifically?
Yeah, there were a lot of others they could have picked. That wasn't fair to her.
Do you know who Jalen Brunson's favorite Madison Square Garden celebrity is?
I saw the headline of that, but I never clicked the piece. Who is it?
Mariska Hargitay.
Oh, okay.
They apparently have a very close relationship.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that, by the way, that would be his favorite.
And then I think Ben Stiller was number 2. And then Spike was number 3.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller's obnoxious to me.
Why?
I don't know. I don't like him.
He's been there forever. He's not a bandwagon.
I don't like him. I had nothing to do with the Knicks.
I think he's really funny.
I don't like him. I've heard he's not the nicest guy.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about him,
I don't
too.
know about
Not
that.
a nice person.
I have not heard that. But
He used to be very funny. Some of his early...
I love some of his early movies.
Dodgeball was absolutely the character that he played in that.
All the Fockers movies, Meet the Fockers,
fantastic.
all that were great.
Yeah, fantastic. But, comedians are funny when they're 30 and 40. And then they become Chevy Chase and Will Ferrell.
George Carlin was funny.
Will Ferrell?
Well, he was different, though. He was just a stand-up guy.
Hang on, you broke my heart. You put Will Ferrell in the Chevy Chase category?
The guys that make the movies.
What has Will Ferrell done?
I just mean
he's
Chevy,
got a new show coming out in a couple of weeks. I'll be curious.
Bomb.
I just mean Chevy Chase is one of the most miserable human beings on the planet.
Well, you talk about, and a lot of comedians are.
Oh, I know.
I've talked to some of them about this. They all say the same thing.
They're all
we're
miserable.
all psychotic.
Yeah.
And they're not the nicest people.
Eddie Murphy.
I met Will
Eddie
Ferrell
Murphy's
once,
not funny
and his
anymore?
publicist had to apologize afterwards for his demeanor.
Really?
Yeah. First of all, he and Mark Wahlberg were doing a movie together. I can't remember what it was, and they both came in to do.
I heard
an
Mark
interview
Wahlberg's
at
a D-bag
ESPN.
too. No?
Mark Wahlberg couldn't have been nicer.
Oh, okay.
And it was such a juxtaposition because we ended up having to extend the segment. We had to take a commercial break after we on the fly. We're like, Will's not going to make it. We're just going to do Mark.
Yeah.
And then in the commercial break, Will shows up. And he comes into the studio, doesn't apologize for being late, was not happy at all, was miserable to be there, wasn't particularly good in the interview.
Oh, wow.
And when we stood up, everybody was shaking hands, and Mark kind of looked at me like,
wow.
like, sorry. Yeah, but the publicist went out of her way afterwards to say, yeah, it's just been a rough day.
Yeah,
he
was.
But he hasn't been funny in movies.
He
in
was
a long
cool.
time.
Vince Vaughn also.
I met him at a Lakers game. He was cool. He was fine. Denzel Washington used to watch all the Lakers games from the Cavs or from the media workroom.
Really?
Yeah.
You met Denzel?
Yeah, he'd sit in the
Wait, why?
I don't know.
That's fascinating.
He'd sit
to
in the
me.
media workroom and eat popcorn.
See, now that's my kind of celebrity. They're not there to be seen.
Yeah.
So
he's
you
there
talked
because
to him?
he's interested.
How have you never said this before?
Especially when
The guy's the greatest American actor right now.
I would agree
the last
with that.
20 years?
Especially when Tyvis claims to be,
Related,
his long lost son.
No, he would just sit in the workroom because at Staples or whatever they call it now, there's like a big media dining room.
Yeah.
It's where it wasn't really the workroom is off the dining room.
Yeah.
He'd just sit at the table at the dining room.
I love that about him.
And he'd
That's
eat
great.
popcorn and watch the game.
I've seen interviews with Denzel.
TV.
He seems amazingly grounded.
I don't know why you wouldn't just sit at home and watch it if you're going to go to the arena.
Yeah.
and
He
then
probably
watch
wants
it
to
on
feel
TV.
the atmosphere in the building. Even if
I
you're
mean,
not in the arena or the bowl, you can.
I saw him. I know I've seen him do it at least twice.
That's funny.
And we were there once a year, and at least twice he was in the dining room eating popcorn, watching Lakers Cavs.
All right, good. It's
All
nice
right,
when
we're
celebrities are
going
good
to take a
people.
break. It's that time. We're coming back to talk about Brendan Sorsby and whether or not you would draft him if you knew in advance what the punishment was going to be. Have a
Every man deserves to know his T levels. Step in a Game Day Men's Health Soul and get tested on us. No guesswork, no waiting, just real answers. Jay, you have not been on while we've discussed any of the Brendan Sorsby saga thus far, so wanted to let you get your 2 cents on the whole situation, and it's going to kind of dive into a little spin-off topic based on the punishment. But with regards to Brendan Sorsby, we know he's going to enter the supplemental draft. We do not know what his potential punishment would be if he gets selected, whether it's an NFL punishment, a college punishment, because he's not part of the NFLPA yet. The NFL can't punish him, but after he gets drafted.
They can, but they won't.
Yeah. Well, they won't until he's in the league.
Until he's in the NFLPA.
I thought.
So they can't do it before.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what college does to him
because he's leaving.
That won't affect the Browns at all.
When the Browns or whoever put in a bid, they are doing it without the knowledge of what his punishment will be moving forward. So I'm curious, and then we'll get into what the punishment should be. But, Jay, for you, if you knew what the punishment would be, exactly what it would be, 4 games, 8 games, a whole season, whatever it may be, would that change your acceptance of what a team would be willing to bid on Brendan Sorsby?
No, and here's why. You're not drafting him for the first 4 or 8 games of his career. As a matter of fact, you probably expect him to be subpar for his rookie season. Most rookie quarterbacks struggle at some point. You're drafting him because you think that the comparisons that have been made to this kid, and yesterday, who was it yesterday? Was it Breer?
Albert Breer said he thinks he's going to be a second-round pick.
A bigger, tougher Baker Mayfield. I don't know if he used tougher, but I think he said...
He just said a bigger Baker.
I heard somebody compare him to Jackson Dart yesterday, too.
I've heard that, too. I've heard Jackson Dart. One kind of wild one out there that I heard was this person wouldn't be surprised if he becomes the next Brett Favre. That seems a little extreme. You're talking about one of the NFL's most prolific passers of all time. But the tape on this kid is fantastic. He is very highly touted. The fact that he bet on games and admitted to it, I saw yesterday that his agent basically said whoever takes him will have access to his cell phone.
Right.
To make sure that he doesn't. I laughed at that.
Yeah, I mean,
because no athlete has ever had a burner phone.
Right.
And so when I read that, I'm like,
what a joke.
I don't believe that a professional agent would actually say that with a straight face, but they did. Is the kid contrite? Maybe. I don't know. Is he ever going to bet on professional sports again? I would think it's probably less likely that he does it than someone else does it because he's paid the price. He got caught. And I think the one...
He's going to the NFL.
Well, he was going to get paid either way. I said last Monday when I was on the show, and it was breaking news during the show, that a Lubbock County judge had reinstated the kid. And I had laughed at the time. I go, that will be overturned. Don't worry, this kid's not coming back.
Well, it definitely cost him money because he would have gotten paid a ton in college.
Yes.
And if he had done, or potentially cost him money.
He's still getting his NIL money.
If he is.
Wait, hold on, time out. What?
Yeah, he's still getting his full NIL money.
That's crazy.
Well, until Texas Tech files a suit.
No, Texas Tech just said, we're done. Take your money and go.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's how much money they have there.
Yeah.
Any other school would say, because even if you're Texas Tech and you have unlimited funds, that's still money that now you can't pay to the next kid.
But he had an opportunity to,
that's stunning to me, Mike.
He had an opportunity to improve his draft stock and maybe, be a top 10 pick.
I wonder if he put language in the contract that said, I'm paid no matter what. And Tech knows that, which is why they would say publicly, just take your money.
In the statement they put out when they parted ways, they said, we're not seeking reimbursement. We're just done with the situation.
Right.
Take it and go.
I'm just wondering if his agent, when he wrote the NIL deal, put in there one way or another, he would be paid this. That's the only way you're going to get him. He's going to go somewhere where he's guaranteed the money. Yeah, money, he's fine. I don't think any team is going to draft him for what he does on the field the first 4 or 8 games, whatever it is. When the Browns made the trade for Deshaun Watson, they knew that there was a punishment coming from the league. The chatter, I think at the time, correct me guys, wasn't it like 4 to 6?
4 to 6.
4 to 6 was the generally
that's what they thought.
Accepted.
That's what they
thought, and that's what was being reported in the media. And the Browns said, look, we're getting a transformational quarterback, a guy that's a Pro Bowler, a guy that can take us to the next level. Let's do it. and then 4-6 turned into 11, and really that was just the first domino in a string of dominoes that led them right off the cliff.
But the suspension isn't going to deter you from not pursuing.
No.
It may change compensation. Like, I don't know that the Browns would have given up quite as much had they known it was going to be 11 rather than 4-6.
Maybe. Yeah.
But they're not going to not pursue him because
They had decided they wanted him, regardless of what the penalty was. They wanted him, so they went for it. And I think if there's a team out there, and the teams that are interested, I read yesterday the Jets, the Steelers, and I talk about living in your fears, and man, this is what the Browns have done to me. I hate this organization sometimes.
The Steelers will get him and he'll be a Hall of Famer.
He's the next Ben Roethlisberger. He's going to go to Pittsburgh. He's going to solve all of their quarterback ills. They're going to win 11 out of 12 AFC Norths. They're going to beat us 13 out of 14 games in a row. He's going to come into Cleveland Stadium and Ben Roethlisberger us, and that's what this organization has done to me.
Yeah.
And why I'm living in my fears. So, on one hand, as I'm thinking about, I really want this kid because he is really, really talented. On the other hand, I'm thinking, do we really want to bring in another person with baggage that we know has baggage coming in?
Yeah, it's a tough call. We debated it yesterday.
I would pass.
Again, as I said yesterday, you as an organization, you have to decide two things. How good is he?
Right.
And how much do you believe his contrition?
Yeah.
Are you buying it? I'm sure, like I said yesterday, there's a lot of guys in the league who have addiction issues, and they're playing in the league. Now, he bet on his team. I'm seeing a false equivalency to the Clase and Ortiz situation.
I agree with that,
Because those guys were, doing things for the team to lose. This didn't happen in this case.
How big of a leap is it that if he's already betting on his team that he could be vulnerable to?
No, it's not a leap.
It's not
he's not
that
there
far
yet.
of a bridge
like
to cross.
I agree with Bull though
but it's
on
not
this
the same
point.
thing.
The false equivalency, and that's
It's
what I said
pretty
yesterday.
close.
Here's the thing. He's flirting with the devil here.
Yeah.
It's not a game you want to play. But to me, when you're doing things that you know are intentionally hurting your team, and it's been proven.
Right. That's different.
Even though it hasn't been proven yet.
The first time he throws a pick six in the NFL.
Well, listen, the whispers are always going to be there.
I hear you.
He's done that to himself. But, the whole idea of, he always bet on his team, this was the Pete Rose thing. Pete Rose loved winning or hated losing more than he loved winning. So Pete Rose, that we know of, never bet on his team to lose. But where it gets tricky is you're giving the bookies inside information when he doesn't bet on his team.
Yeah, right.
And that's why it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And I know what you're saying, and he is going to have to face that. He's going to hear Kenny Rogers playing the gambler in every stadium he goes to.
Right.
He's going to be, and he's done that to himself.
Yep.
I don't know the kid, so I can't say one way or another whether I think he'll never gamble again. But I do know this. You're one of the few people, Bull, that I know that had a gambling addiction that just shook it off. You just, you just stopped betting one day.
Well,
most people relapse. It's an addiction, and people have a hard time looking at it as an addiction. It very much is an addiction.
It absolutely is.
And it's about the action and the juice. It's not necessarily about the money.
I said yesterday, and it wasn't. I appreciate you saying that. It wasn't easy.
I know it was. You talked about how tough it was for you.
I think I said this yesterday, but I'll repeat it if I didn't. If I went to a casino now and sat down and with just $10, I would go to the ATM 12 times. Now, even though I haven't gambled in 16 years. Yeah, I know it. That's why I don't do it. I don't put myself in that situation. My problem, like many compulsive gamblers, is there's a lot of gamblers that can go a while without gambling, but you know that once you start, you can't stop.
Yeah, it's like
that's
alcohol.
The problem.
A lot of alcoholics say, I don't go into a bar or in a liquor store. I don't trust myself.
These conversations are weird because I hear some people that you could tell know nothing about addiction talk about it, and they sound stupid. But listen, I don't know. There's no clear right answer in this situation. If the Browns have done their due diligence and they believe in the talent and believe in him, I'm okay with them. I would definitely not use a first-round pick. That's too big a risk.
Yeah.
To me,
What's consensus? It'll take a second to get him.
I don't even know. Dane Brugler said today he thought it would be a 4th-round pick.
Wow.
Now, to me, a 4th-round pick is a no-brainer.
Take
Why
a
not
flyer.
take a chance?
If you can get him with a 4th round pick,
I
do
disagree.
it.
Do not introduce that into the building. Yeah. That's what you said about Shedeur. What's the harm? It's a 5th-round pick. Well, there was some harm there.
But see, I'm intoxicated by the upside. When you watch the highlights,
it is not worth. I want no part of this. None.
Okay, if he goes to Pittsburgh and they win multiple,
but you know what? That's why I said
I'm
off here.
Look at you and say, Jay,
but,
why did you do
but
this?
But the reason why I want no part of it is because they've proven time and time again they are not an organization that can handle this.
Well, now listen, that I'll give you. That's a very salient point.
The Steelers are an honor roll student.
Yeah, you're right.
The Browns are delinquent.
Ben could have come here and we could have ruined his career. We've done that with other guys.
So when you operate at a high enough model, you can extend a gamble.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Here or there.
The Browns have failed in all their games.
The Browns have burned down their own house.
Yeah, you're right. They don't get the benefit of the doubt. That's why when you said if they do their due diligence and they decide that he's worth it.
Yeah.
If the other organizations do their due diligence and they're deciding that he's not, I tend to trust that more than the Browns saying he is.
If the Browns let's say the Browns win him in the 4th round.
Yeah.
And a couple of other good teams bid 4th round also. Would you feel better about it?
No.
I'm only going to feel good about it if he comes here as a model citizen and wins. That's it.
Right.
Is there runway for that? Yes. But is there an off-ramp, as Jason said, where things can go sideways? Of course.
But you know what? If it's a 4th round pick and it goes sideways, then you cut him.
I'm just going to say what I think is going on. Todd Monken was pretty steadfast when he made comments.
He was
at the golf tournament. I guess 2 weeks ago. This was now. He basically said, "Is this kind of kid that you want to introduce to your?" There's the full quote. I don't know if you can read it, but
we read it yesterday. But he says it's a slippery slope.
Then you've seen it. You can read it while I make my comments. But basically, I don't think, and he's very transparent, much more so than Kevin. But I think as he said this, he had the backing behind him, knowing in all likelihood that the team was not going to go down that road. Because otherwise, you risk making these comments, and if they do bring him in, the first thing Sorsby's going to see on his social media pages is that quote tweeted at him 1 million times.
I'm not convinced that means they won't draft him, but it would be something to overcome if they do.
It'd be awkward.
Yeah.
You know what? Quite frankly, even if he went to Pittsburgh, the first time he starts a game for the Steelers against Todd Monken, the first thing you're going to see on the CBS broadcast is, well, it wasn't that long ago that Todd Monken was saying he doesn't want anything to do with this in his room, despite the fact this is the same organization that brought Deshaun Watson into their room, and now he's going to get a chance.
Johnny Manziel into their room.
And it was the same thing that happened for years with Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
The Browns was his hometown team, and they passed on him, and now he comes in as the conquering hero of their arch rival. Like, God, I'm living in my fears right now.
Yeah, you are.
I
can understand that.
Yeah. It's been 60 long years just getting beat about the head and shoulders with the Browns 2x4. And my hope is that for him, he goes to the NFL and has a great career. I would like to see him, if he's going to be that guy, I'd like to see him do it for us, but there are risks. And to Jason's point, the Petri dish is very muddy.
Yeah.
And, you can put a good seed in bad soil and watch it die. What happens if you bring a bad seed into that bad soil?
Yeah.
It's a rough one.
Question for you guys before we head to a break. Jason, we were kind of talking about this after the show yesterday, but what do you think his punishment will end up being? Based on the track record we saw with Calvin Ridley, who gambled, with coming from college to the pros, the inconsistencies with the NFL and their punishment.
Yeah.
What does your gut tell you the punishment will be for Sorsby?
I can't even venture a guess. It's strictly a guess. I would say probably in like 6 games.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Somewhere around there. The Deshaun thing was different because the bad news never stopped coming. Like the Browns made the trade.
Got a lot worse after they got him.
It did. The Browns made the trade for him, and it was funny. I didn't want to interrupt you yesterday when you were talking about you have to do due diligence and you really have to dive.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, that's what the Browns said they did with Deshaun.
Yeah,
and they bring him in, and then all of a sudden the New York Times story comes out with like 70 women coming that he had gone to 70 different women or whatever for the massages and everything.
Right.
And it just kept, like, the bad news just kept coming. And then there's the HBO stuff. And the Browns just never could get their arms around it or get out in front of it.
Yeah.
And this is far different than that. You're not going to have that type of instance. So, I do think that
it is possible. I mean, maybe we find out. Maybe down the line they find out more information about
He
his
bet
gambling.
against his team.
Well,
who knows? Yeah,
but I'm just saying it's not going to be this slow trickle of like different accusers
hopefully
coming
not.
forward.
Yeah. Right, that's true.
What you said, yes. If you comes out that you bet against your team, you're done.
Yeah.
But I think you can go to the league as the Browns did this. I think you can go to the league and you get a sense of this is what the punishment is going to be. This is probably what so that you know how to operate.
But the league won't lock into anything.
But then the league
won't
can
commit
also
to
say,
anything.
yeah, sorry about that, bro.
New information came to light, and 6 became 11.
That's exactly right.
Off topic, but did you see who James Harden? Did you guys talk about this yesterday? Who James Harden hired as his attorney?
No, I didn't see that.
Rusty Harden.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
what?
I mean, it makes sense. He's a Houston-based attorney.
Yeah.
But
What's Harden doing that he needs Rusty Harden for?
James Harden?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys didn't talk about that?
No,
on the
we
show?
We did,
You're
but
right.
it's a misdemeanor. You got released on $100.
No, I know, but yeah.
James Harden got arrested? I totally missed it.
Oh,
over the
yeah, he
weekend,
got arrested
yeah.
on guns.
I was away over the weekend.
had,
I totally
My
missed
first
that
thing
somehow.
when he saw that, I go, I don't know that and I didn't double check it, so it may have been false information that he hired Rusty Harden. But when he hired him, I'm like, that's not what Rusty Harden does. And besides, this is a low-level
nothing
misdemeanor.
burger.
It's a
He
low-level
had a gun on it.
misdemeanor.
He
He
had-
was
he
out
He had
on
a gun in the
$100
passenger
bond.
seat when he got pulled over for a traffic stop.
He was registered to carry and everything. It was
He
it
just
was not.
can't have it open on your seat,
Yeah.
and he did.
It's
So I don't know, Mike. Maybe you can look into that. I saw that he had hired Rusty Harden, and I go, and I should have looked
Texas?
into it before I actually mentioned it.
In
yeah,
Texas, he got arrested for having a gun.
Yeah, I know. They've
why.
got pretty liberal.
According to Yahoo Sports, he has hired Rusty Harden.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw that. I didn't click the story, and I saw the headline, and then as soon as I said it out loud, I'm like, I never double checked that. Let's do that because it could have been a joke.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would hire a high profile attorney like Rusty
Defense
Harden
attorney
for a
for a
low level misdemeanor.
So-
doesn't make any sense.
Based off my 12 seconds of research reading a Yahoo Sports article, he had hired Rusty Harden in the past for something else.
Okay. So he's just staying with him.
He's just
Staying
this
with
guy.
him, yeah.
Okay.
All these guys use Rusty Harden.
Spelled
Yeah.
differently, by the
Real
way, not
sleaze.
related.
Real sleaze, Rusty
James
Harden.
Harden,
Well,
E-N,
he
Rusty,
may be,
I-N.
but to me, was it Tony Busby? Was that the name?
Oh, he was a sleaze too. Yeah.
To me, Tony Busby took the cake.
We had both of them on when I was filling in.
Yeah, I
after
remember
you
that.
left.
On the Fan, right?
Yeah, we got Harden and Busby on back-to-back days.
Yeah, which is it's absolutely classic stuff.
Yeah.
Classic stuff. All right, we're taking a break. Coming back to talk about, there's this notion that the Knicks were formerly the most tortured fan base. First of all, I vehemently disagreed with that. Who's the most tortured sports fan base now? We'll discuss.
Golf fans, the countdown is on to the 2026 Call-League Companies Championship. Firestone Country Club will host world-class legends of the game July 9th through the 12th. You can purchase your tickets now at callleaguechampionship.com. A ticket guarantees you access to great golf and a chance to experience all the Call-League Infinity Zone has to offer with interactive activities, bar and lounge areas, food trucks, and celebrity appearances. We can't wait to see you at the 2026 Call-League Companies Championship in July.
Mike Polk's doing a free comedy concert there on Thursday with a bunch of Cleveland high-profile comics in Cleveland. And then Bailey Zimmerman is performing Friday. And, of course, you've got the golf. And the fact that this is the last that we know of for now stop at Firestone. They've had to stop there for 75 years.
It's a shame.
And they're losing the fifth major, and the seniors tour is going out to California. Okay, this is going to be a good topic. Yesterday, it was discussed about the most tortured sports fan base.
Yeah, Bill Simmons on his podcast got a question in his mailbag.
The Knicks now are off the hook as the most tortured fan base in all of sports, which I just didn't see it ever in the first place. But let's talk about that. I didn't think it was the Knicks now. Who is the most tortured sports fan base right now?
I don't even accept the premise because most sports fans root for more than just one team in a city.
Yeah, I agree with
so
that.
I think the premise is stupid.
If you did play it off of one team, though.
If you just play it off the one team, to me, obviously I'm a little biased, but right now, today, it's the Guardians fan base.
I agree. Slam dunk.
Yeah, I mean
1948.
You've gone the longest. Has any team gone longer in any sport?
Well, there are teams that have never won a
That's
championship, so you could claim that they're. But the reason I think Cleveland is more tortured than those that have never experienced it, because there were glory years of sports in the 40s, 50s, and 60s in Cleveland. You had a dominant Indians franchise that had an unbelievable starting rotation. You had not just the World Series championship in 48, but you had in 54, they made it to the World Series and famously were swept after winning like 111 games in the regular season. And then you had the Jim Brown dynasty of the 60s with the Browns.
Jay, you're combining. If we combine, I can't say Cleveland because we just won 10 years ago.
Right, but what I'm saying is comparing it to other cities that haven't, like Minneapolis has these pro sports teams.
Yeah.
But they had the Lakers. I'm pretty sure the Minneapolis Lakers won NBA championships before they moved to Los Angeles.
A long time ago.
It was in the 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago, but the 48 is a lot longer than the 50s.
Why would the Cowboys even be on that list?
I laughed at that.
That's
They
absurd.
mentioned the Cowboys. Yeah. I'm telling you.
Well, that's insane.
The Cowboys, they won, 4 champions? 3? How many did they win?
Maple Leafs is legit. I remember when I was up in Toronto for some of the NBA playoff games, and they talked about how passionate hockey fans are.
That's their
Toronto.
religion.
Yeah. But I'll tell you one that's not on there, that first one that came to mind, if you want to talk about tortured, if we're just going by specific team.
Yeah.
Seattle Supersonics fans, because they got screwed.
Yeah, they lost their team.
I mean, and through no fault of their own.
Right.
It was money and it was funding for a new arena. That is a passionate fan base. It's a shame. It's a disgrace that
they'll be the
NBA
next city to get an NBA
They
franchise.
better be. They should have been back before now.
It's a crime that they have.
And so, like, if you're going to talk about like specific team franchise tortured fans, it's sort of like the Browns. They lost their team through no fault of their own. They didn't do anything wrong.
The Mariners have never won a World Series. Now, Seahawks obviously just won the Super Bowl, but the sports fans in Seattle are nuts. They're great. I don't care what the sport is.
Yeah.
They've got a soccer team that they go crazy for.
I went to a WNBA game in Seattle before it was big like it is now. This was probably almost 20 years ago.
It probably went nuts.
It was a packed house.
Yeah.
Packed house.
Great.
When nobody else was doing well in the WNBA at the time.
But there was an argument made that, it can't be Buffalo because they're a small town.
Yeah, that's
and now that doesn't hold any water to me.
Mike is obsessed with Bill Simmons. I'm personally not a Bill Simmons fan. I don't like him at all. So you bring up Bill Simmons stuff.
Mike is in that era of people who love Bill, that age group.
Just the fact that he would suggest that the Cowboys fans are the most tortured fan base.
I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Is patently absurd.
Mike listens to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are absurd.
I don't love Simmons either.
Yeah.
I'm not a big
Where do you think the Browns rank on this, though? Like Browns fans?
Well, so let's just talk about the other football teams that were on the list. Cowboys, they've won how many championships since the Browns won their last?
Well, they've
What
won
have they won? 6?
They've won since I've been alive. So I think
and they've
that's
won 3
ludicrous.
times since you've been
Well,
alive.
how are the Jets not on there?
Well,
Right.
the Jets won in '69.
Okay.
So no, I know, but when you look at
But the Jets got to be. It's the Jets and the Browns for football.
Well, what
yeah,
about
but I
the-
would say even
and
more. But the Jets won a Super Bowl.
Well, what about
we
the
haven't
Arizona-
played in a Super Bowl.
Jay, the Arizona Cardinals have the longest title drought in the NFL. They won the 1947 title matchup, haven't won since.
Oh, okay.
But no one cares about the Arizona Cardinals.
No one does because they were also the St. Louis Cardinals.
And
The
they've been to the
Browns,
Super Bowl.
the Browns are number 1 in football. The
Agree with
Jets
that.
are number 2.
I'll give you
and
that.
then I'd put the
Detroit-
Cardinals probably number 3.
Detroit-
And Detroit.
Detroit's got to be up there.
They've been competitive, but they haven't gone to a Super Bowl.
No, I mean you could probably put Detroit and Cleveland in the same sentence because Detroit was also very, very good. They were a pillar of the NFL in the 50s.
Now, where do you put Buffalo and Cincinnati? Bengals have been to the Super Bowl 3 times, Bills 4 times, but neither has ever won.
And Atlanta was up 28-3 in the Super
Atlanta.
Bowl.
No, those teams are next after this first
they're
group.
in the next group.
Yeah.
But I can't put the Cowboys in that group. You're blinded by your rings.
Yeah,
I can't feel sorry
Cleveland
for you.
was
I'm sorry.
until the Cavs won the championship. Cleveland was by far the most tortured fan base.
Yes.
There was not a close second.
You know who finished second?
Yeah.
When I was on Cold
Minneapolis?
Pizza, we did like a 10-week series where we first selected it down to the 10 most tortured.
Yeah.
And the second was Buffalo, and Seattle was third, I believe, and Cleveland was first.
Well, at that time, had Seattle won? Was that before all the Seattle championships in the NFL? With
won-
Russell Wilson?
they
Or
won
no?
the
Yeah, no, it was before Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
It was like 2004 when we did it.
Yeah, I would have put Seattle actually in that time. I would have put them ahead
Ahead
of
of
Buffalo.
Cleveland, yeah.
No,
Oh,
not
ahead
ahead
of
of Cleveland.
Okay.
I would have still had
They
Cleveland.
might have
one,
been second. I can't remember.
Seattle
It was
2,
Cleveland,
Buffalo 3,
Seattle
and then
were
what
right
was
there.
4? Minneapolis.
Minneapolis was
Yeah.
in there. Cleveland was number 1.
Had to be.
We came and
But
did
now
a
we
show.
We're not number 1 as a city anymore.
No, because the Cavs have won
won.
in the last
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah.
And there
So
are
what
cities-
city would you put number 1, Bull? Is it Minneapolis?
Minneapolis, yeah.
Or
Buffalo.
Seattle makes a strong case too. But I mean, they just
Yeah,
won
but
one
Seattle's
Super
won
Bowl,
3
so-
Super
Yeah,
Bowls
they
in the
won-
last
Yeah, have they
10
won 3?
years.
I thought they won 2.
Two Super
Oh,
Bowls.
2. Sorry, yeah, 2.
Yeah, but still, you can't. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can count
yeah.
them as. But I think Minneapolis too, because Minneapolis.
Or Buffalo.
Minneapolis
Charlotte.
has.
What's Charlotte done? I mean, nobody ever talks about Charlotte as a
Yeah,
great
that's
sports
true.
town. But
Panthers, the
the Panthers
Hornets.
are horrible. The Hornets have always been horrible.
Yeah.
Hornets have never been any good.
And they have a. And,
They don't have
but
baseball.
they just won the Stanley Cup.
Oh, they did. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
yesterday,
You're
or
right.
2 days
You're
ago,
right.
whenever it was.
I don't
So-
ever pay attention to
Yeah,
hockey.
I don't really
You're
pay
right.
attention to
But
hockey.
it counts.
Yeah,
It
it
counts.
counts. Yeah.
But yeah, for cities, it's
Minneapolis.
Yeah, Minneapolis and Buffalo, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a while since the Bengals have never won a Super Bowl. The
But
Reds haven't won a World
Twins
Series
won a
in a long
World
time.
Detroit?
Series in
Oh, that's true.
90,
When did the
Yeah.
91 maybe?
When did the Red Wings win? When's their last?
Oh,
it's
I
been a-
guess, I guess
Yeah,
they
and the
won
Pistons
recently.
won.
been a while.
In
And the Tigers have won too. I mean, 84.
honestly, before this year, if you were a New York Mets, Jets, Knicks fan, that was one of the worst droughts because it had been 40 years before this
Yeah,
year.
you got to go back to 86.
Now, if you're Yankees or Giants, I don't want to hear from you
No,
about
I
the
don't
Knicks.
either.
I don't care.
You know what's funny? We were talking about the Cavs, and obviously the anniversary's coming up on Friday. I don't think anyone really talks or feels awful about the Indians blowing a 3-1 lead.
Because the
they-
Cavs.
Because the Cavs.
Yeah.
The Indians were 1-1 away from World Series championship.
Yeah.
We talk about Game 7 in '97 all the time, and the Marlins and how devastating that was and all that. They had a 3-1 lead, 1 win from World Series. Nobody talks about it.
I do.
Like it's,
Nobody where? What do you mean?
Nationally.
well,
probably.
even here, how many
Yeah,
people
yeah.
talk about the Guardians or the Indians? Whatever you want to call them. Cleveland was 1 win away, and what a horrible collapse it was.
Yeah, trust me, I hear about it all the
Do
time.
you really?
Yeah.
Well,
I
as a
never
Cubs
hear
fan, that's
anyone.
why.
Yeah.
Well,
But I hear about it too. I'll never forget it. To me,
but
that was.
the Cavs overshadowed everything that happened because people were still drunk in October.
Right. Had the Cavs not won, it would have been even
That
worse.
would have been crippling.
Oh,
It would have been even worse.
it would have
Yeah.
been devastating.
But because the Cavs won, everyone's like, meh.
Yeah,
all
we
right,
were still on our
whatever.
championship
Yeah.
hangover.
Yeah.
It was only 4 months later that we did the same thing. We blew a 3-1.
And obviously before 16, the Cubs were the most tortured fan base. Individual team.
Yeah, you're right. We
Individual
should
team.
do a poll, Mike, at some point and make it more than like a flash 30-minute poll. We should at some point ask which of the Cleveland disappointments rank number 1 for you. And I know a lot of people would say, you'd have to be of a certain age to remember it, but the drive and the fumble, and those used to be my benchmarks for the most. But
Oh,
to
I know
me,
what yours is.
The 3-1 collapse in
Yeah. We
could do
2016
like a-
is first, And then
Marlins?
losing in extra innings in 97 was second, and 95 was third.
We could do like a
baseball's
bracket.
your favorite.
That's it. I just want to see a baseball championship.
We'll set up this one. We'll do like a little bracket of the
that's a good idea.
Factory of Sadness.
Yeah, you could. I wonder. You could easily come up with 8, but could we come up with 16 Cleveland heartbreak moments?
Oh,
16?
16?
No problem.
Yeah, but but when you get to 14, 15,
Right, 88, the fumble, the drive.
No, you're easily going to get to 8. You're easily going to get to 8.
We could get 16. We could get to 16.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's come up with the top 16 most disappointing moments in Cleveland sports history.
Yeah.
We'll do a blind draw.
Browns leaving.
Because you don't want to seed. You just do a blind draw. Now, you could get the 16 collapse versus the 97 Indians in the first round.
Can you bundle the 15 Cavs injuries of Kyrie's knee blowing out?
Yeah, that would count.
With Kevin's
yeah,
shoulder?
because that team, people thought that team was better.
Yeah.
Or at least. So, you could probably come up with 16.
Kevin
Let's
Durant
make a
joining the
bracket.
Warriors. Can we
We'll
get
have our
that?
fans vote on each matchup for round 1.
I like it.
Then we'll advance it to round
That's
2,
good.
and we can leave. We can draw this out all through the offseason here in football.
Yeah.
I love it.
There we go. There's
All right,
our
we're
summer
going to take
promotion.
a break. When we come back, we got 60-second trivia, super chats, and Jay's golf swing. We're going to rate it.
Oh, yeah.
Stay right here.
Oh, boy.
I don't know how.
Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We got super chats. Henry Jeggs says, I gamble and it's addictive. Sorsby never hit rock bottom to change his ways. Rather, he's getting free money from Texas Tech and off to the NFL. I promise you, he will gamble again.
Arse.
Michael Bellaby says, regarding Mike Trout, would he be a short-term renter or would you sign him for a long-term deal?
He's already
I'm concerned
signed.
about his age.
Yeah, you have team control for what? 2 more years?
Yeah, he's already under contract.
I don't know how many more years off the top of my head.
Yeah. But
A. Kulix
the risk is you might not have baseball next year.
That's right.
Since 2013, would you trade Cleveland's baseball history for the Royals?
Yeah,
Yes.
I would.
Of course
If
they
you're
would.
not
They got a
including
ring.
their World Series, then yeah.
They got a ring in
Yeah.
there.
And the
They
Royals
won
had
since
some
13?
100-loss seasons in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they won the
15
World Series.
in
15, was it 15?
Wait,
15.
It was
it
the year
15?
before the Cubs won.
Yes, 15.
So
Lost
you're
with the
asking
Mets.
going back to 13? Would I change?
Yes, it's 13. He basically said
Well,
a ring
Yeah, I mean, the
for
Guardians
all
have been
the
a lot
bad
better
years.
overall. But
Yeah, but the
they
Royals
got
won
a
a
ring.
World Series.
Yeah.
I would take a couple 100-loss seasons in there for a World Series.
You take the ring.
Yeah, give me the ring.
James May says, would Dennis Northcutt make the top 10?
I might make the top 16.
Dennis Northcutt.
The Steelers, the drop
Disappointing.
against the Steelers after he had a monster game. I mean, it was disappointing for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot. We'll
Yeah,
get
there are a
The Dwayne
lot.
Rudd helmet
And
throw, that was
last
week
super
one, though.
chat,
There are a
B
lot.
Watt Life says, maybe I came in too late, but you guys forgot the Sacramento Kings as disappointing fan bases.
I think we
yeah.
talked about them, didn't we? The
Yeah,
Kings
no,
were mentioned at some point.
they count.
And that's the only team they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, you got to throw the Clippers in there too. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're going to go
Do
just
Clippers have fans?
That's a good point. Let's look at Jay's golf swing real quick. Guys, let's
Touche.
rate Jay's
Yeah,
golf
let's see
swing
Jay's
before we get
golf
to
swing.
60-second trivia.
yeah, let's see this.
Jay,
This is my
That's
first
pretty.
shot.
That's
too.
not bad.
It looks like a normal
That's my
swing.
practice swing.
Yeah,
My
that's
practice
all right.
swing always looks pretty solid. Somebody from the gallery said hit it over the fence. And
That's very, very sound.
Where'd it go?
simple,
How
easy
far
swing.
was the furthest you hit it?
I
can't
was.
tell.
I think the closest I got to the pin was like 100. It was 100 yards.
Where's the flag set?
300 feet. I think I was 18 feet away from the pin.
Was the flag
that
in center
good?
field? Where was
I'd
it?
be on the green and I'd be putting for birdie.
right.
Where was it? Was it center field?
Dead center field.
don't see it.
Yeah, it's 300
You can see the
feet
guy
out, 100
standing
yards
Did
out.
you win?
No, Tim Klepper, Matt Colleague's money guy beat me, and Matt beat me as well. But I think I was probably third. But there were a lot of
that's
different
fun to be
people,
able to
a lot
do
of
that at the
dignitaries.
stadium.
You know what? My son one time went to Petco, and they had a deal where you were hitting from, I think, a rooftop.
Yeah.
That's next to Petco.
Yeah.
And the pin was on the field. It was after the season was over.
that's funny.
And he was invited as part of the Olympic Training Center. A lot of the guys
Yeah.
got out there and got to do that. And he loves golf more than he loves anything. And
Really?
yeah, he loves golf. He'll go and play 18 by himself. I won't do that.
Oh, wow.
He'll go out on a day that he has time and he'll go out and play 18 by himself. He loves it that much.
Yeah.
He's become a really good golfer too. But yeah, I give myself a B minus.
B
on that.
minus?
Yeah, it's not what it used to be, but what is these
I don't
days.
know. Is anybody here qualified to grade golf swings?
I'm
No.
surprised
so.
that this show doesn't really have a big golf fandom to it.
No.
I know Anthony's 1 for 1.
You know, when you look at other podcasts, like they all have a big golf element
Yeah.
to it.
No.
Barstool is all about golf.
We got a great trivia question. We're going to save it for tomorrow because we only have 10 seconds. Friday, an hour of Cavs championship anniversary history. We'll be coming to you live. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.